Shalom, hello. I'm happy to return to the stage, this time with you, former Deputy Chief of General Staff Yair Golan, member of Knesset, chairman of the Democrats. Yes, certainly. We are now in a decisive moment when it relates to the hostages, maybe the fate of this campaign imposed on us on 7th October, that Israel, Netanyahu, just needs to decide where he's going. Continuing to phase B, release all the hostages, maybe with the price of ending the war, or go back to fighting. And some of our hostages stay there. And Netanyahu is also in a vice politically with Smotrich and the others. If Netanyahu calls you today and says that he's going to phase B and Smotrich is probably resigning, would you support that the parties in the Knesset should give a safety network for Netanyahu and not topple his government in order to enable the return of the hostages? Yes, absolutely. That's my answer. Returning the hostages, releasing them, is a national mission of the highest level. It's the one and only subject that around it we can unite the entire Israeli population, besides extremists on the fringes. I would tell Netanyahu, I'm not going to sit with you in the government ever, but you will get a network to bring them all back home now, without tricks, without various attempts to shuffle your feet. Everyone home now, live and dead, the live to rehabilitation, the dead to honorable burial. You said that there are fringes, extremists. According to polls, there may be the fringes, but they're about 30% of the Israeli society that think not that they don't want the hostages back, but if the price of phase B in finishing the deal is ending the war, the significance is that Hamas remains the ruling body militarily and governmentally in Gaza. After October 7th, the state of Israel, nationally, that we can't allow this. This is what they think. And sometimes, theoretically, philosophically, you send soldiers to die in battle, and you tell them you will die to achieve a collective goal. So maybe, if the collective goal is that we cannot stay with this Nazi monster on the other side of the fence in Gaza, so not all the hostages will return. And my question to you, what do you answer to this reasoning that the end of the war, it doesn't go together? Returning the hostages is the end of the war, and this means that Hamas stays the governing body militarily, and the headlines are that they're rehabilitating, and they will come back to be the eve of October 7th. I cannot relate to this without relating to the past, and then I will relate to the future. As far as the past, look, I was a brigade commander, division commander, fighting Palestinian terror in the Second Intifada. Most of it, by the way, was Hamas. What did we do? On the one hand, operations militarily, but also a political arm. We started building the Palestinian Authority. We took out Palestinian Authority security forces to train abroad. We strengthened them and gave them stability. This serves us until today wonderfully, even though this government is throwing at them criticism. The Palestinian Authority is actually promoting stability and enabling security in Judea and Samaria. What did we do in the Gaza Strip? Nothing. Zero. Zero vision, zero looking forward. No attempt to take the military effort and the operational successes. And even though it wasn't professional enough, if you ask me, we didn't take the operational achievement and try to translate it to a political move, to a completing effort. We didn't build a replacement for Hamas. No question why they're strengthening now, because nobody's facing them. Hamas faces vacuum. So Hamas fills the vacuum. This is the failure. War you cannot win only by the military effort. War is a national effort, and we should have completed the military effort with a diplomatic move, financial move, civilian move that ultimately will lead to a replacement to Hamas inside of Gaza Strip. We didn't spend 1 minute, no energy, no time. The result is this catastrophe that we see now, this shameful situation. Now we have a difficult choice, not or the hostages or continued fighting. I say categorically, the fighting, by the way, settling the deal with Hamas we can do later on. The hostages don't have time. First hostages, then we will deal with what we do with Hamas. You mentioned defensive shield, the Operation 2002, but then you controlled the area. Now you don't control the Gaza Strip, and you don't mean to control the Gaza Strip. So the parallel is problematic, and more than that. If you want to do the same operation in Gaza, you need to enter 5 divisions, crush Hamas, stay there for 2 years. Do you support this? Because if not, I don't understand how you bring Hamas down to a minimum that another force can come in. Because if today you bring in the Palestinian Authority, or all these day afterwards like Golan tried to do from day one, Hamas would slaughter them on the first minute, and you know this better than me, Mr. Golan. So be honest with me and the audience and say, in order to enter another body, I need to first introduce 5 divisions, control the area, give them food for a year, just like defensive shield. First, I am not afraid of military operations. That's not it. A serious country defines priorities, and a country that is secure defines priorities first for the good of its citizens. So first, release the hostages. Hamas is strengthened, will threaten us. We will know how to go back and fight. What happened? But not enough. It's not enough to fight. I say this again. Besides going back to fighting or continued fighting, you need, by the way, you say, how is Hamas there? We acted with 5 divisions out of Gaza. It's not that we didn't do anything. We killed 45,000 Gazans. We created unparalleled destruction in the Gaza Strip. It's not like we didn't do anything. We did a lot. Now we need to take the operational achievement, build the mechanism to release the hostages, build a replacement for Hamas. I think a replacement for Hamas can be constructed, not right now throughout the Gaza Strip. I would start in 2 regions, in the south near the border with Egypt, in the north, in the northern tip near the city of Gaza, introduce security forces from the Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Jordanians, expand the MFO mandate from the Sinai so they will be able to monitor what goes into the Gaza Strip above and beyond and underground. Start to build a future. Work with the Palestinian Authority to train new battalions that will go into the Gaza Strip. Secure the civilian contractors so they can act in security. These security regions, use them in order to create an alternative for the young Gazan. What do you want to do? Build tunnels for Gaza or go to work for 10 times the salary for the contractor from the Emirates that works near Rafah? This is what we should have done. Also in defensive shield, the operation in 2002 that we all remember. I was there. I commanded the division 2005-2007 after. We worked with the Palestinian Authority. We built a structure that was opposite to Hamas, that replaced Hamas. We sent out soldiers from the Palestinian Authority to Jordan. The Americans assisted. There was a governmental substitute. If you want to take defensive shield, there we did the right thing, militarily and politically, civilian-wise. The result was stability that held for many years. What are we doing in the Gaza Strip? Nothing. Military without any purpose that doesn't lead to a better security situation for the State of Israel. This is political shamefulness. 2002 April, defensive shield. It was a few weeks operation. I think it took 3.5 years to end the terrorism. No, 2007 for the first time, June 2007. For the first time, we were able to reduce terrorism under the level that it was in September 2000. 7 years. It took 7 years. Why? The terror rose. No, I'm talking about 2002, the beginning of the operation, 5 years. Oh, you're counting from the beginning of ebb and flow in 2000. Oh, you're strengthening my argument then. So, this means, if I'm doing the equivalence here, it should take 5 years in Gaza. No one else will do it instead of you. The IDF should be in Gaza, military rule for 5 years until a substitute that is effective rises instead of Hamas. Do you support this? And let's be honest, what's the price? Military, reserves, economy? No, I don't support this. No, you said that you support this. I'll explain. What we need to do is the following. It's to turn Gaza into a model of regional cooperation. If we build these islands, these enclaves, where the Emirates and the Saudis work, assisted by others, and we from these countries. We need to deal with a relatively small region that we can deal with. The difference between the IDF maintains full operational flexibility on the ground, including on the ground. And we will be able to hit Hamas whenever necessary. All this I mean, and if we need to do so, because first, as I said, it's return the hostages. We will be able to go back and act against Hamas later on, but you must remember something very basic. If we do not create a substitute for the young Gazan, everything will collapse. Right now, we're not dealing with it. So the combination of, on the one hand, building a substitute that will broaden for many months, and on the other hand, maintain freedom of action of the IDF anywhere that we need, including on the ground, this is what needs to answer the security issue, civilian and diplomatic and financial, that is the best for the Gaza Strip. It sounds complex, but it's not complex. It's very simple. It's always military action and other actions that augment and complement each other and act in parallel. When you lose this parallel effect, you can't be effective fighting terror and guerrilla. Prime Minister Netanyahu would have said the following, I think. Listen, Mr. Golan, you say that we should return all the hostages. This is your number one priority. If we would listen to you in May and do the deal in May, we would not have destroyed battalions of Hamas. Nasrallah would not be dead. The heads of Hezbollah wouldn't be dead. Hezbollah would be powerful like before. The Assad regime would probably still be there. The Iranian axis would still be there with full strength. And we would be in a different place if we would have listened to you. This is a great question. Thank you. I'm happy for this question. The reason is very simple. This war was managed in a failed way. It was managed in a failed way, in my view. Also militarily, but from the political perspective. Listen, who said that we needed to go into Rafah only in May? Why didn't we enter Rafah in December, January? Who said that we needed? I opposed. And by the way, from the first month of the war, I preached that we need to go in or transition to attack in the north. Why did we wait so much? All the special activities of the Mossad that were operated in August and September, we could have launched them many months before. Why? What was the reasoning? Why did we drag our feet or do nothing? Leave the whole region of the north be deserted from its civilians, displaced? There was no reason. Didn't you see the reservists working hard? Wait, we can't go to the populistic reasoning. The war was managed in a failed way by the government of Israel. We could have done it all faster, more effective, reach achievements many months earlier. Look at the region where we fought. It's small. There was no reason to have this low rate or low tempo of operations. The failed government from October 7th managed the war in a failed way, and more, they add another failure where they don't leverage the achievements that we did make and take them to the dimension of political movement, regional, financial, and social in relation to the Israeli society within, in order to utilize the achievements of the war. This is shameful. This is a dereliction of duty. Instead of taking the military effort and use it, we're wasted in every arena. You talk a lot about the political echelon, their overall responsibility. I don't know that the Chief of General Staff and the General Staff went to the Prime Minister and said, let's go to the north, let's go to Rafah. Why didn't the military echelon strive to do what you said? Did you talk to the Chief of General Staff about this? First, we should say that, to the best of my knowledge, and this also you have Golan expressed on October 10th or 11th, we could have transitioned to a strike in the north, to offensive in the north. The decision of the political echelon was not to do so. We have to be honest. Beyond this, I think that if we want to manage a successful campaign, the political echelon must define targets or objectives very clearly with priorities. The government of Israel from day one hides behind definitions that conflict each other. I say here very clearly, categorically, you can't bring down Hamas and return the hostages. You need priorities. If you want to return the hostages, you have to accept that Hamas will not be totally eliminated soon. If you want to release the hostages, you have to understand it will be a deal with Hamas. There's no other factor that can release the hostages. So let's be true to ourselves and say this. First, release the hostages, then we'll have enough years to settle the deal with Hamas. And if we need to destroy Hamas, let's approach that campaign where we have another option, be the real victory. A long time, but from all over, people are waving signs, please finish, time is up. Thank you very much. Thank you, Yair Golan. Thank you and thank you all.